As the deadly floods ravage communities across the country, displacing millions, Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi asks others to suspend campaigns and help victims of the disaster. And the after effect of Governor Wike's show of support to a candidate outside his party still lingers, with questions about the implication of this cross-party endorsement. The Lagos State candidate of this party, the PDP, speaks with us tonight on the program. Well, hello and welcome to the program. I'm Kayode Okikiolu here at Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Well, let's begin with a major political event for you to look forward to in the coming days. It's official. We now have the date for a presidential debate ahead of the 2023 elections. Well, earlier today, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, the NESG, in collaboration with the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, NEDG, with support from the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria, BON, and other partners, announced that it will be facilitating a presidential debate on economic policies of the candidates. The debate, which is scheduled to hold on November the 15th, is geared towards sensitizing the stakeholders and, of course, you, the citizens, on peaceful, informed, and accountable democratic participation. Well, the issues will center around the state of the economy, of course, in a bid to address the concerns of you and I, and, of course, help the electorate choose from among the presidential candidates and other leadership positions in the February national polls. So that's something to look forward to. Elsewhere, the All Progressives Congress has been responding to the accusations by the People's Democratic Party, which blamed elements within the APC as responsible for the disruption of its campaign rally in Kaduna on Monday. The ruling party, in a statement today, while describing the attack as wrong, said the PDP has no one but itself to blame. A part of the statement released by the APC spokesperson, Mr. Felix Morka, reads, "The ugly event that unfolded at the rally of the People's Democratic Party in Kaduna last Monday was wrong, but regrettably self-inflicted." It says the APC had no hand in the incident, which he claims was a matter of a rented crowd that went irate when the party's rent-a-crowd managers disappeared with funds meant to pay for the rented crowd, he alleged. He urged security agencies to probe the unfortunate Kaduna incident with a view to unmasking and prosecuting the culprits behind it. Well, there's more political stories where that came from, so let's bring you a roundup. And when we return, we'll bring you our first hot topic. It's a major one. In fact, the lineup, the package for today is packed. You do not want to miss this. But first, here's your political roundup.
The People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State has inaugurated the state's presidential and governorship campaign committee. The committee, made up of 871 members, is headed by the governor of the state, Amadu Fintiri. Inaugurating the council, Governor Fintiri charges members of the council to return to their communities and work with other stakeholders at the local government, ward and unit levels to ensure victory for the PDP. Also in Osun State, the People's Democratic Party inaugurated its campaign committee for the party's presidential candidate, Abubakar Atiku, ahead of the forthcoming presidential election. The ceremony was held at the Atiku Okowa campaign office in Osogbo, the state capital. The state's chairman of the campaign council, who is also the governor-elect, Senator Ademola Adeleke, says PDP is the only party that can rescue Nigeria from the present situation the ruling APC has subjected Nigerians to. The 305-member committee is expected to mobilize votes and support with the party's candidates from local government to the national level.
For anti-corruption, for better infrastructure, for national unity in the diversity and for good governance.
The governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance in Enugu State, Frank Wike Jr., has called on the electorate to shun money politics and ensure that they elect leaders with sound character and proven integrity, capable of addressing the core issues hampering the growth of the state. He stated this while unveiling his manifesto on key areas he intends to focus on if elected as governor of the state. Mr. Wike Jr. believes that sound leadership is a panacea for good governance, which will lead to a robust economic transformation.
We will revive the culture of leadership that values honesty, that values hard work, that values brotherhood, partnership and an unshakable focus.
Ahead of the official commencement of campaigns by the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress, more support is coming the way of the APC candidate, Senator Bola Tinubu, as a federal commissioner representing Enugu State at the Federal Character Commission. Mrs. Gini Kato is advocating the need for Nigerians to sustain the legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari through Senator Bola Tinubu. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the federal commissioner, who is the national initiator of Igbo Kwenu for Tinubu Shetima 2023, says Nigeria needs credible men with strong will to tackle the challenges bedeviling Nigeria as a nation.
A man of credibility, a man of competency, a man that cares, a man that is charismatic to lead us ahead of where we are now.
A federal high court sitting in Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, has nullified the APC primary elections for Fika East and Jakusko state constituencies for non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act and ordered All Progressives Congress to conduct fresh primaries within 14 days, according to the presiding judge, Justice Fadima Murtala. Also in a related development, Yobe North APC senatorial aspirant Abubakar Jinjiri has withdrawn the suit he filed against the senatorial candidate Bashir Sheriff Mechina. In her ruling, Justice Fadima Murtala held that Jinjiri has the right to file the notice of withdrawal and that the notice of discontinuance was valid and accordingly dismissed the case as sprayed by Mechina's counsel.
Let's get into our big conversation for tonight. The first leg of it. There's a rumble in the People's Democratic Party, and this rumble is not just affecting the national politics of the opposition party alone. It is also affecting and impacting on the state, with Lagos being the latest recipient of this impact. Well, it began with this statement by Governor Wike of Rivers State yesterday while speaking at a National Women Conference here in Lagos. Take a listen, and we'll bring you the issues.
My friend, who will be a second-time governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. If Sanwo-Olu is not doing well, even if he belongs to my party, I won't come. So, for me, if you're in my party and you're not doing well, you won't see me. If you're not in my party and you're doing well, you will see me. And that is what I stand for. And I will not regret to say that I'm in support of you. I don't want to talk the other one.
So a lot of people knew Governor Wike's stance on the national chairmanship of his party, the presidential candidate, and other leadership issues, but not his position on the governorship race of his party in Lagos State. But just to be clear, in case you're wondering what is playing out, that was a PDP governor, Governor Wike, declaring support for an APC governor and candidate in the coming elections, when in fact the PDP, his party, has a candidate in that same election. Well, let's not take this too far. Lots of issues, really. So let's speak to the man in the eye of a storm, if you may. We're joined on the program tonight here in our Lagos studio by the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State, Mr. Jide Adediro. Well, a lot of people know him as Jandor. It's good to have you on the program tonight.
Thank you, Gadi.
I know you had quite a day with campaigning. We'll get to that, but this is a major issue, and we have to get into this first. Now, I'd like to know, how did you feel when you heard a leader in your party, a prominent personality of the weight of Governor Wike, declaring support not for you now, but for the candidate of the APC in the coming election? How did you feel?
Well, first, as a matter of fact, that should surprise anyone, really. But in my own case, I'm actually not surprised. I'm not surprised because it is Governor Wike. But what I'm going to say to this is, first, I need to apologize to Nigerians on behalf of my party in Lagos. Why am I apologizing? because I saw the statement issued by my party, and I feel that we shouldn't have behaved like him. Unfortunately, we did. But for me, just like the party put it in their statement, how can somebody who didn't support me with all his might within the PDP while seeking the party ticket, we think he's got that magic wand to take a decision for generality of Lagosians? Okay, because during the primary, I came into the party. Of course, when I came into the party, was one of the governors that came to receive me. Came to receive me because of the can-do ability they've seen in me, what I brought into the party in Lagos, which I appreciated. But I did that not with a naira of his. Absolutely, he supported the party in Lagos during my coming, but not me. I've planned everything before Governor Seyi Makinde actually introduced me to him. So, and during my primary, he didn't buy my form. He was supporting somebody else in Lagos because he needed structure to win. I don't have that structure. I came in with nothing. They've done all the structure.
That's in the PDP?
In the PDP before my coming. So, because of that, and I said to him, because Governor Seyi Makinde were together, and I said, Your Excellency, this is your friend. You are my leader. But your friend is not supporting me in Lagos. I said it before him, to his face. And I repeated it when we went to Port Harcourt. But that was before primaries. And I said he was supporting somebody else. And we understood why he was doing that, because I don't have anything at that time. But today, I picked that ticket with all his might within the PDP. And I'm the candidate of the party today. So I don't think I've done anything wrong to inform him bringing such a treatment in Lagos. And I see how APC was jumping up and about because of that. If for anything, that brought us a lot of sympathy, because you would say you would never expect that a party man, a governor of a state in our party for that matter, a national leader, will come and do that for any reason at all. But it has happened, it has happened. But I need to say this. Just today, I started my campaign in Alimosho Federal Constituency, because for me, I'm visiting all the wards to campaign. So 3 wards I've been today: C1, C2, G North, and G South. 4 wards actually, in the 11 wards in Alimosho, and I'm continuing tomorrow. So I have a lot to do. The people of Lagos want a breath of fresh air, which we represent. This Governor Wike that came to Lagos saying somebody has performed. Let me ask him, how many times has this governor invited him to come to Lagos to commission any projects, or any governor at all, the way he's commissioning up and down? Right. So for 4 years of governor that has never commissioned one single project. In Ambode 3 years, we saw Abulegba flyover, Aja flyover, airport international roads, and the bypass. You know, in two years, this government, nothing to show for everything they've done. Yet their budget in 2020, according to them, performed 88%. 2021 performed 86%. This one, half year of this budget again, is on 77%, both revenue and expenditure. Yet nothing to show for this. So, and our debt, both local and foreign, right, agreed to, you know. So what are you celebrating? You just want to come to Lagos and do that on top nothing. If he had done his assignment very well, I don't think we would have said that person was performing. So
essentially you wish away all of the projects that this government is working on, some of the commissioning it has done in recent times.
Tell me which commissioning. One.
Well, I don't speak for the government, but just recently,
just tell me,
the governor was commissioning some schools.
Which one?
Virtually.
Tell me.
I imagine that you know that as well. But I'll leave that to the government to speak, because, I mean, images are around. He was commissioning some schools just, I think, today, virtually. But let's speak to, I mean, your relationship with Governor Wike, which is more important. I mean, the back and forth can happen where it ought to happen. But for the people of Lagos, did you do anything really to offend Governor Wike? Because you said he never supported you. And a lot of people remember in January when he was in Lagos to welcome you into the party with pomp. And he was happy, in fact. He was as free as he could be. So did you do anything to offend Governor Wike?
Absolutely nothing. I just said to you, I didn't do anything. And, I mean, you know Governor Wike very well. If you had done anything for me. He would have said, yeah, you know him. He would have said yesterday that I did this, I did that, I did. He would have mentioned my name. I know him. We all know him. But that's to tell you that nothing. But like I said, we're not surprised. One, nobody will express shock over what happened yesterday in Lagos. I mean, except you are not in this country. But for my party to have issued that statement, when I saw it, yes, it's my party. They want to put up a defense for whatever it is. And they did say in that statement that I would defeat, and that is the truth, I will defeat all Sanwo-Olu godfathers anywhere they have, both locally and externally. I will defeat them in 2023. But I look at that and I said, no, we shouldn't have behaved like that, our leader. I mean, we should.
What part of the statement did you have a grouse with?
Everything.
Even the part that said you defeat the governor. Is there,
that's a fact.
Okay, so which part did you have a grouse with, if not that one?
No, because when the party says they're not expressing disappointment that is coming from him, I don't think we should. That's really not.
So you feel your party should maybe have held off, not release a statement, and just settle things behind the scenes?
I mean, we shouldn't have behaved like him.
Okay, you know, I'd like to know, really, because there have been talks about whether or not you're supporting the presidential candidates of your party, you're supporting the national chairman. So let's just lay it bare. Are you supporting him and the G5 governors in their clamor for a national chairman of the PDP from the South?
Supporting who?
The G5 governors, including Governor Wike.
No. All the governors, including Governor Wike, are my leaders. The presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is the presidential candidate of my party. So all of them are our own leaders.
No, this is about the national chairman.
National chairman?
Yes.
No,
so are you supporting their clamor for a national chairman from the South? So, Senator, Ayu steps down for a national chairman. That's what they've been asking for. Do you support them in that?
I've not made any statement on this. Why? Is because we have an election, and we are so focusing on that election. INEC will not change the date of election because in our party we are still fighting whether or not a chairman should leave. Okay, what I'm saying? So we are focusing our election to vote from Atiku Abubakar down to assembly in Lagos, the entire 5 ballots that we have in Lagos. That is our focus. Let me ask you, if I join the clamor, if Ayu is removed today, are they going to make me national chairman?
So it's about personal interest.
If it stays there.
So is it about personal interest?
If it stays there, would it retrieve the ticket that I have in my hand? No. I have an election to win, just like everybody in Lagos. So we're so working on that. Now, I excuse all our national leaders to continue playing their national politics. But we are so focusing on this ballot.
While you play state politics.
Of course, I mean, this is my state.
But you know, the governors have said they're fighting for the South. Governor Wike, Governor Markin said they're fighting for the South. I mean, you're from the South as well.
I'm from the South.
So that extent, do you support them, at least fight for their people, as they have said? Do you support them to that extent?
Now, let me ask you this. Before the primaries, there were lots of agitation. We should have a southern president, or we should have what have you. Yes, we never joined such agitation. Why? Because for me, what got us here is because we have a northern president in President Muhammadu Buhari, who is then behaving like a northern president. But for me, I said it when they were dragging all of that, I don't care where this person is coming from. What I want, what we want, is a Nigerian president that will get there and treat all Nigerians, you know, equally. Now, how did we get here? At first, in PDP, we had a southern national chairman. Before the expiration of his tenure, we changed it to north.
Right. So in essence, you're trying to stay away from all of this and focus on yours. And focus even if the fight is for the southern people, as it were.
I am saying I want a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
National chairman.
What is national chairman in all of this?
No, I think that's at the center of this, and you're aware of that.
I never joined that conversation.
All right. So essentially, you are focused on your campaign.
On our local election.
You know, when issues like this happen, politicians have ways of resolving it. By the way, have you tried to reach out to Governor Wike or any other of the
Yes,
governors?
of course. As a matter of fact, when we put together our association governorship candidate, I was the one that put it on that portal and said, guys, in this coming election, there are no greater stakeholders aside from us in this election. And I think it's about time we reached out to all our leaders and see how we can manage. So first, we went to meet the NWC. We listened to them. We met with our presidential candidate. We listened to him. And we went to Governor Wike in Port Harcourt to see him. Now, this is it. When we got to Port Harcourt, yes, we saw him in the evening. We had conversation. In fact, I will quote some of the things that we said at that meeting. I said, look, yes, he said a whole lot, as usual. I speak to my colleagues. I say, you know what? Anything you hear here, just use and rub body. We are here to achieve something, of course. And at the end of that, he brought out issue of somebody calling somebody hero of the convention. Of course, we all heard it. And we are putting that behind us and say, we have to beg him and say, can you come and be the hero of the party? By, you know, shifting your sword and lay this, you know, bare and all of that. You know, I'm a Yoruba man. And if you know us very well, leaving Port Harcourt, he offered his aircraft to take us back. I didn't join. I had to take my own commercial to come to Lagos with my colleagues. Yeah, as a matter of fact, 3 of us did that.
So essentially, things fell through then?
Well, you see, my worry is this. That should be our role model at that level. I'm not even speaking about.
But are you looking up to him as a role model now?
We should.
But are you looking up to him as a role model?
I'll be a governor tomorrow, and I'll be governor of Lagos State by 2023. But I think that office comes with some sort of decorum. I mean, as a governor of a state.
Well, so you know that he's quite close to the leader and chieftain of your party in Lagos State, Chief Olabode George, and they've held meetings severally on the same page on a lot of issues. And in resolving this, have you tried to maybe reach out to Chief Bode George, who is just, as I say, at your backyard here in Lagos, perhaps to get the elders to wade into all of this?
On wade into what?
On this impasse now, looks like with Governor Wike, especially the recent, endorsement of Governor Sanwo-Olu.
That was his choice.
So you're not planning to reach out to Governor, to Chief Bode George on this?
What I needed to do, I started today, reaching out to the people of Lagos that are going to give me their mandate, that want to elect for the very first time an independent governor, not the one that is handed to them. That was why I went to Alimosho. I was in C1, C2, G South, G North today, and I will continue tomorrow. While I was doing that, my deputy was in the market.
So when you said that you're actually going to defeat the godfathers, were you referring to the likes of maybe Governor Wike, Chief Bode George in the coming elections?
Chief Bode George hasn't come out to say he's supporting Sanwo-Olu. I don't think he will do that.
Is he supporting you?
Of course, that's our leader in Lagos State. He has no choice than to support us because he's a leader of the party.
So that means he's not on the same page with Governor Wike.
I don't think so.
But he's spoken about, a grouse with you in the build-up to this, in the selection of your deputy governorship candidate, saying that, well, there was some sort of conversation, an agreement. He went as far as saying that, and then things happened, and it looked like you went the other way. So have you been able to repair that relationship? He's supporting you now.
No, let me say this. We never had a relationship that is forced. I don't know how you want to put it. But I say we have a very good relationship. But what my leader tried to tell the people of Lagos in that conversation is to say they will be having an independent governor in 2023. Now, I do know that his allegation actually touched on my character and integrity, okay? And I should, as a matter of fact, come up to speak against him or anything. No, I won't do that. Yes, I know that venturing into this trade, you can't but have your character and integrity, because it comes with the terrain. That's why they say politics is dirty. So I'm doing this way and push it aside, but just sum everything up. My leader in Lagos just said to the people of Lagos and everybody who cares to listen that this Jandor is going to be an independent governor.
His words were quite clear. He said that after their, and I'm quoting his words now, after their presentation here in my office, we saw that these were the best two we have, speaking of GRV and, of course, yourself. And we asked him, according to him, they asked you pointedly, would you work with this man as your deputy? And he said, you said, yes, sir.
Okay.
So you gave your word, and eventually you reneged on it, according to him.
Now, listen, I will quickly narrate something to you. I didn't want to call my leader a liar. I can't call my leader a liar. But yes, my leader said we had a conversation, and I consented to that. Is that what he said? That is what he said. Everybody heard it. Now, the same person you spoke about, that we said we had an agreement to be my deputy, had to follow me on the day of primary election. It was going about campaigning, yet we had an agreement. It was going about campaigning. The people that actually stepped down for me during the primary, Wale Gomez, Dr. P.S., did that, calling a press conference to say, we are stepping down for Jandor. And everybody knew they stepped down for me. On the day of the primary, Kayode, you covered it. We were 6 that were running. Deji Duarte, Jim Kamal, Dr. Adedosumu, myself, Dakova, and Baduba Roosevelt. 6 of us were at the Marriott Hotel, where Brother Imao Gidi came to address all the aspirants before the primary. So if we have actually had an agreement, I don't think somebody like that should have a business in that place, but it was there. Now, at that meeting, 3 people stepped down to say we're withdrawing from this race. Deji Duarte, Jim Kamal, and Dr. Adedosumu. Right. I thought at that time, somebody like Badibo should have said, me, I have long withdrawn my own aspiration because there is an agreement. He didn't say that. We went to the venue of the primary together, and he brought an agent. So if we had an agreement, what is he doing at that
So in essence, you reneged on that agreement in court because you didn't see the moves that you expected to see.
Look, listen, this is on the day of primary. If we actually had an agreement prior to that, I don't think you should have a business in that place. Or you should have even addressed the press. Or this thing my leader was talking about would have been in the public domain.
Right.
That is, but let me tell you something. Badibo Roosevelt, just like every other person, and I have evidence to that effect, applied to be my deputy. And he applied to say, I would like to be your deputy, and signed it. And I have copy of that application.
Or you didn't accede to that request?
It's my choice to weigh options that I have. It wasn't the only one that applied. Dakova applied. Yeye Shobaju applied.
Did your current deputy governorship candidate apply?
No, she didn't have to apply because it is my constitutional right to go and look. My deputy governor, I picked her on merit.
Right.
Not that she wanted to be deputy governor.
You know, about that whole, what played out then, some have said that perhaps that was a huge mistake because GRV today, some will say, is riding on that Labour Party momentum, that support. And surely, maybe that could have been to your advantage if he was your deputy or if he was on your team. So with the benefit of hindsight, with the kind of support he's getting now, do you think you made a mistake at that time?
No. As a matter of fact, within the Labour Party, I have more support than him, their candidate. And that's the truth.
So you're saying that do I call them the obedient movement, support you?
My brother, let me say this.
Is that what you're saying?
2023, just like you call a movement obedient, 2023, it's about personality. It's about your can-do ability. It's about that person. We're shifting, something is shifting. It's about what you bring into the table. So you call something obedient now, you didn't say Labour Party. That is for an individual. It's not for a party.
Right.
So if we do election inside Labour Party today, I will defeat him inside Labour Party.
You'll defeat, who is that? The Labour Party's governorship candidate. Okay, Mr. Didero, we need to go on a break now. I mean, it's quite interesting conversation. We'll maybe touch on your game plan now, because for a state that has been held by a party, so to speak, for 24 years, That's a job of work for you to do. So we'll go on this break, and when we return, we'll continue on this conversation and perhaps shift attention to the Labour Party and its journey so far. More importantly, its plans and policies for Nigerians. That's at the moment. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back to the program. Just before we continue our conversation with the PDP governorship candidates here in Lagos State, let's tell you that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, earlier today called on other presidential candidates to suspend their campaign and join him in lending a helping hand to victims of the deadly floods and attendant humanitarian crisis across states of the Federation. Mr. Obi made the request while responding to questions from journalists after his visit to Governor Sanwo-Olu of Benue State at his Abuja private residence, where the presidential candidate had gone to discuss modalities on his plan to visit flood sites in Benue and other states. And he says he expects other presidential candidates to show more concern towards the plight of victims of flood disaster, considering how millions were spent on nomination forms alone.
Nigeria is greater than all of us. And we must work hard, irrespective of our political differences, to ensure that we build a better Nigeria for our children. I came because of this flood issue. As you can see today, flood is ravaging the entire country. And people are dying. People are being displaced. I personally stopped and told my people, no more campaign until we're able to visit some of the sites, at least sympathize with those who are going through problems. And I came to take his permission to ask him that I want to visit some of the sites in Benue, as I'm going to do in 1 or 2 other states. I'm also calling other presidential candidates to stop. Let's see what we can do. If we can buy our funds for millions of naira, we should have some little things to go now that people are suffering and say, at least show sympathy with them, and then we can continue.
Well, on this part, Governor Sanwo-Olu, who said he would have supported Mr. Obi if he wasn't in the PDP, asks Nigerians to go into the 2023 general elections with a mindset to elect the best presidential candidate amongst all of them. Take a listen.
The front runners of this 2023 presidential election are 3 of them, from the PDP, my party, the APC, and the Labour Party. But let us look at these 3 people. Who has the capacity to deliver and to make things work for our country, Nigeria. Let us look at it. Let us be factual. Let us be frank with ourselves, because we are toying with our future. A country of over 200 million people deserve a better leadership that is proactive, that has foresight, that has vision to make things work for our country. I look forward that these 3 candidates of the various political parties will meet and say, look, let this man go. I'm in PDP, and I'm working for PDP, but I tell you, if I were not in PDP, you will see me working for Peter Obi.
That's how that meeting played out. But let's continue our conversation with our guest right here in our studio. He's the PDP governorship candidate here in Lagos, Mr. Jide Didiro, also known as Jandor. Thank you for staying with us. And I just heard your governor in your party saying that if he wasn't in the PDP, he'll be supporting Mr. Peter Obi. And I recall before the break, you said that even the obedience are supporting you. In the same token, it looks like there are people within your party that have a sympathy for Mr. Peter Obi, who was in your party anyway. So, do you have that same sympathy for him?
Well, I think the Governor Autumn, you heard him. He said if he wasn't of the PDP, he would have supported him. That's already said it all. He's of the PDP. He has a candidate in his party that is supporting. Mr. Peter Obi was at my reception when I came into PDP. And then it was one of the former governors that came as PDP. Over the weekend, we met at a function, you know, and I greeted him very well as my leader. But unfortunately, I have a candidate in my party who is experienced, who even Mr. Peter Obi himself agreed on national TV that is the most prepared, is experienced, and even, let me use this word, he called him unifier that Nigeria needs at this time. He said that as a candidate, you know, of Labour Party himself. I mean, he has said it all, and I can't but agree with Mr. Peter Obi.
Has he been able to unify your party, at least maybe start small, then the bigger Nigeria?
Yes. Let me tell you something. You're trying to speak to the crisis within the party. I actually don't know what people want him to do, to tell Ayu to resign. I mean, I don't think he has that right, moral and constitutional right, to tell Ayu to resign. I mean, why would people want him to tell Ayu to resign? Ayu should resign if he wants to resign.
Right.
It's not him telling Ayu to resign. So, because of that, do you know how many times our presidential candidate has visited all of these people one-on-one without putting on cameras over this whole issue? Quite a number of times.
Okay, a couple of issues to touch on, really, and spreads across. But one of the things that touched me from Mr. Peter Obi's statement was about the flooding situation. And, I mean, Lagos sees its fair share of flooding. I mean, you started your campaign from Alimosho. Alimosho has seen its fair share. Ikorodu and the other areas. Do you think it's okay, really, the proposal that let's pause this whole campaigning thing and let's try to help people who have been affected by this flood? Is that something you're considering?
Let me tell you, I think sometimes in July, as a matter of fact, on the day of Eid Kabir, we had serious issue. There was a heavy downpour in Lagos, and we had serious issue with getting flood everywhere in the state of Lagos. I did something that day. I did a press release, and I put numbers of all our coordinators across the state, because the state, at that time, wasn't even doing it. They were not even responding to it. I mean, the guy that was put in charge of flood management and gutter management, busy on Facebook, you know, writing all sort of rubbish, leaving his primary assignment.
But we
did, I beg your pardon, okay. We did, you know, our bit to make sure that I put numbers of all our coordinators out there, and I asked them that people will start calling you. All you need to go to their house and assist your neighbor, take their belongings out and keep somewhere or in an hotel. That is what we were able to do, as somebody was inspiring with structure everywhere. And that gave us huge result. Before, people were calling down numbers, and all our coordinators across the 245 wards in Lagos were helping their colleagues, because at that time and up to now, we don't have a government. And now, how did we get here? You see, there's a difference between being prepared to govern and being railroaded into this. You understand? If you never envisioned to govern, you never planned or prepared to govern, this is what you get. 7 years we have been on this journey. We didn't join the process in 2019 because we were preparing, because I don't want to be a governor that would not understand Lagos and the problem. Today, I started my campaign. I didn't do like others that would go to one local government at the point, talk to people and go back home. I was touring the world. alone today I visited 4 wards. You know how 4 wards is in Alimosho.
Right.
So this is me driving through Lagos, walking through Lagos to see firsthand what are the issues. So it's so bad that in 23 years, we've not been able to find solution to this problem of flooding in Lagos. And what is the solution? It's being proactive. We already know Lagos is one of the sinking cities in the world. Of course, we're below the water. And you know your problem. So all you need to do, you know areas that are even prone to flood. What you need to do is to prepare.
So basically,
for that
not
time.
Avert the flood, but at least mitigate the effect on the people.
Because it comes with our terrain.
But what about these ideas that you have? I mean, you've been in the APC as well, in the state. Did you present these ideas such that at least you say, I've done my bit, then present it to this government, to my party leaders, such that it can be used to help the people?
Okay, let me say this. Yes, I was of the APC, but I've never been appointed or elected before. Okay? But in that corridor, I was providing my own service, which is consultancy. And it's a professional sort of, what is it called? So, which doesn't go into that area. Okay? But I've been able to understudy a whole lot in that system and see what is actually wrong. Let me tell you the problem of Lagos. And that is what we are coming to change. The problem of Lagos is us being a wealthy state only on paper. That is it for us. Our agenda is centered on us coming to birth a Lagos that is wealthy in truth. A Lagos that you are going to see the wealth on the street of Lagos as against the current one that you only hear of our huge revenue, of our huge budget and performance with nothing to show for it. So what we need to do really, what Lagos needs actually, is an independent governor that will sit, that had convictions before joining the process, that believe in himself, not the one that was railroaded or called upon by somebody, and all of that. And that is why for 7 years, we've been everywhere. And coming in 2023, we've got solutions to some of these problems. Majority of these solutions, if you don't even need to invest 1 naira. Let me give you one. We have this menace in Lagos that you people call NURTW. And somebody like me looked at that sector of our economy, and I believe that, yes, NURTW, it's a body recognized by law because it's a labor union. But leadership of the state decided to turn them to tools, and create a menace to the society. But in my own case, I would change them and convert them to blessing. How? Kawede, I was coming from this axis. You see huge traffic on this axis. And this is the time you see traffic robbers coming to your car, break your glass, and take your belongings. Now, as a governor of Lagos State, if I give you beggar garage to manage, and you are there making free money, you are there doing all sorts that you like, the day they rob on this corridor, that's the day I'm going to take the garage away from you. You will see that they'll protect this corridor.
So essentially,
if they are
they're
not
going
the
to
one robbing
contract
the corridor.
security to the union
just saying
of road transport
that is
workers.
one of the things that they can be better put to use.
So how will they secure the corridor? Because they shouldn't be carrying arms, I imagine.
No, they don't need to carry arms. I said, if you tell the chairman of that garage, this is where you make free money. The day people, rob anybody in this corridor, I'm going to take that garage. You see what we do. At a peak period like this, we will send all his boys out to file out on that garage, and they will secure it. That is if they're not the one doing that.
So how will they secure it is the question. First, you said that you'd allow them make that free money.
Do you know where I'm from?
To secure such, I mean, you see people robbing guns, weapons, and all of that.
Kawede, I was born in Mushin. I grew up in Mushin. You can't come to our hood in Mushin and steal anything. They're not born you well. We secure. If they cut your pocket and we see how they cut the pocket, I will tell you who cut that pocket and we'll bring that person out. See, we will secure Lagos with native intelligentsia, what's it called, in conjunction with the
so essentially you work hand in hand with miscreants, those elements, and ensure that
we are turning them from being miscreants to protecting the corridor where they make money. It's just like you tell somebody who is selling market here and say, I don't want to see any debts in this place. The day I see debts here, I'll take that stall away from you. That person will clean that place every day.
So what happens to the current leadership of the union here in Lagos, well established? Would you be working with him or do a replacement? Because, I mean, there have been different controversies around him.
No. I said, NURTW, it's recognized by the law.
So essentially, you'll be working with the current leadership here in Lagos.
No. Listen, it's recognized by the law. We're talking about the body now.
All right.
Okay? And you cannot do anything on that. What we have currently, that is the choice. It is a choice of the current leader of the state to make them choose.
Okay. The question is just basically, would you be revamping, changing the leadership, or allowing them to maybe get a new leadership or work with the current structure?
See, everybody in that business, they are in this economy.
Right.
You know, listen, they are in this economy. What I'm saying to you is that whether it is them or it's going to be anything, what we are saying is we're going to provide leadership that will make them responsible.
Okay. So what do you say to people? Because there's been that shadow that perhaps trailing you. People saying that you are fronting perhaps for the presidential candidate now of the APC, Bola Tinubu, that essentially you are the front for him. He's supporting you behind the scenes, and you come out and perhaps look like you're for the PDP when in fact you're being supported by him. What do you tell people?
Let me tell you something. If you know my story very well, I was from the APC, but I committed that unpardonable sin that you must not commit as a member of APC.
What's that sin?
Exactly. You must not have a structure of your own. Because over the years, I studied that system, and I looked at why my forebearers have been failing is because one man controls the structure. And the day you even think or you envision to say you can be a governor or you want to be a governor, that's the day you will never be, as far as that system is concerned, because the owner of the structure will prefer to pick somebody who is not ready, who doesn't have an ambition, who has not even prepared to be in that office to be. But it was an unpardonable sin for you to have aspiration. I mean, on your own, sleep and have that conviction. So I committed that sin. One, I imploded the party. January 21st this year, I took everything that we put together in that party to the PDP.
You took your structure?
Yes.
So you actually found a way to build a structure?
Yes, of course I did.
In spite of what you said?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, during that time, he made a pronouncement that all groups within the party should be suspended. And they suspended their own Justice Forum and mandate. One of the leaders now called me and said, won't you suspend Lagos for Lagos? And I reminded the leader, I said, Lagos for Lagos is registered under the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's only court of competent jurisdiction that can do that, not a pronouncement of an individual. So we didn't answer him. So we were able to take that huge chunk from APC to PDP that have been doing 35 to 40% every election cycle in Lagos. So what they need to cross this threshold is what we have brought into the PDP. And we are going to use it and win that 2023 election, and I'm going to be the governor.
So you're saying you have never enjoyed his goodwill such that you need to repay him, because it's been said largely.
Should I say something?
Yeah.
We have never had one-on-one. Never.
So you've never benefited from his leadership?
We have never sat in front of him like this, had one-on-one with him.
No, it's not about sitting, it's about benefiting
what
from
do you
that
call,
structure.
What do you call benefiting? I just said to you I was a consultant in that corridor of power. Don't forget, this is my state. As a consultant, I render services which was paid for. That is not benefit. Rather, they benefited from my own expertise, because the crime that Fashola committed between 2007 and 2011, that almost ended his second term, they accused some of us for that crime because we were the one doing the PR. They said, no, you can't do that. How can his rising profile, his eclipsing that is the godfather? That was the issue. That's my job. He did well in office, and I did a good job in projecting that to the people of Lagos. Now, that is not anybody assisting me or me benefiting from that. This is my state. If we want to look at it, he has benefited a lot from me because I am of this place.
But do you still hold your allegiance to Governor Fashola, former Governor Fashola?
Do I what?
Do you still hold your allegiance to Governor Fashola, former governor?
Governor Fashola, former Governor Fashola, which is current minister now, is my leader. But now that I have moved from his party to a PDP, he's still my leader, but at brotherhood level. We are not of the same party. We're a different party. But in 2023, you know what? I am going to be his governor. Me, Jandor, will be his governor.
Well, it is left to the people of Lagos to decide.
Yes, I
really,
know, but I'm going to be his governor.
But let's end on this note, really, because You say that you've known the party, you've known the candidate, you've done a lot of work for him.
Certainly.
For those who still see a sense of, I mean, maybe information still not clear about his background, source of wealth, and all of that, having worked with the party closely, do you have such issues as well with his candidacy and his person?
Which candidate now?
Of the presidential candidate of the APC.
Why did we talk about my own presidential candidate?
No, that's the question. You've worked with him. I mean, you can't deny that you have worked with him.
I don't know what I've not worked with him. I've not had any transaction with him. Okay? I've only consulted for the government of my states. Not with him. He's not the owner of the state.
So being an APC, you've never had to do any project, any work for him, for the party?
No, never. For him, never. Never. We have never sat like this one-on-one.
Right. So personally, you do not have those questions.
I don't have any.
And you do not
relationship
subscribe
with
to those questions
which,
out
which
there.
questions?
The questions about his person, what
no,
played out in the past.
It's not whether I don't subscribe to it. I just feel that, I mean, if you're in public space, everything should be there. So, you understand? So I don't. It's not mine to say, but it should be there.
Right.
And whatever it is there is what it is. Every other thing, I mean, some people spoke about Alpha Beta in Lagos, and they asked me, you know what? I don't know who is the owner of Alpha Beta. I don't want to know.
Right.
But I know that some things that are legally right but morally wrong within our system, we will review them. I don't care who is the owner.
And I think that's a fine place to leave it. Mr. Jide Adediran, the PDP governorship candidate in Lagos State. A lot of people know you as Jandor, so you'll be remiss of me to not say that. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you,
So that has been our package. We apologize we couldn't bring you the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party. We were meant to have him on the program, but he had an emergency to attend to. So we promise to do that conversation very soon. That's been a show tonight. I'm Kayode Okikelu. Good night.